Greetings, this is Black Light. Off the cuff, off the top, but deep in my heart. Skool 101. Let it be known that the mark of the beast is not in my forehead. This is Arabic writing up here in my forehead. Allah. Allah 24/7. God vision. 365 days of the year. The name of this video is going to be called The Crossover to Snow White. Now, you know, what am I speaking of? Let me explain it to you like this. Let's take music. Back in the early days, the 20s, the 30s, maybe even in the 19th century, 18th century, because it took us 400 years before we could actually play music. Because at one time when the black man was slaves on the plantation, they wouldn't let us play our music or beat the drums. We couldn't play our music, our original native music, our culture music. We couldn't play that. And if they catch us beating the drums, they would chop the hands off. So eventually, we started singing in the cotton fields, sugarcane fields, because we was over in Hades and Central America and the Bahamas and all over there first. So we started combining English, or incorporating English into our music. And this is why the slave master thought we was happy to be slaves, But actually we were passing codes, and the music that we were singing was classified as the blues now. But it was the same music we were singing when we was over in Africa. And later on, down the line, in some of my videos, I got some African music from Senegal and various countries that I'm going to play for you. And you're going to hear the same kind of chords that they use, the chord structure that they use over in Africa. It's the same chord structure they use in the blues and in rock and roll and funk, rap, same structure, same game. And eventually it caught the ear of the Caucasian. And this was fascinating to him because in that chord structure, a lot of time it wasn't nothing but three notes and three harmony notes, but we had major and minor notes that we would play and it had a certain vibration and tone that struck the Caucasian's ear. And eventually he started recording this music. He called it the blues because he labels our music. Now we might have called it the blues, but I think the Caucasian probably called it the blues, because we were moaning and groaning in our music and growling, moaning, groaning, and growling in a whole lot of our tunes. And so eventually, uh, he would come, as we grew into the American culture, and we developed our own clubs or after-hour joints to perform in. The Caucasian would come to where we were performing in the ghetto or wherever the black people, were gathering in the clubs, and he called it slumming. They would come to the spots, and party with us, and they started loving our music. They would come down to see uh, Charlie Parker, Bird, Dizzy, uh, Louis Armstrong, and all these different brothers back in the day. They started calling it jazz, but it's really the blues, but it's just a sophisticated form of blues, what they call blues. They started adding more chord changes, and more harmony notes, and broadening the science of African music, and this was appealing. So the Caucasian said, well, I believe, my people love this music, so let me sell this music. So eventually it got so that we were in demand, and they would send for us to play at their after-hour joints. And the gangsters, they ran a whole lot of after-hour joints, and uh, they dug our music. And so they would open up clubs like the Cotton Club, and for example, and have us perform in the Cotton Clubs, but the blacks couldn't go in there and listen to us. We had to stay on our side of town. But the Caucasian was flocking in there, And when the Caucasian flocked into our clubs, they called that crossing over. Because Caucasian had more money to buy records and to go to clubs and pay high prices for partying than the average black cat. And so once you crossed over to the white man, you consider have made it. Because, they start sending for brothers to come to France and England and all like that. They love jazz, and over there they love black music. Over there in England and Europe, all over in Germany, they love black music, you know what I'm saying? So after we crossed over, the white man started commercializing black music. So he started putting them in on wax and selling it all over the planet. he set up distribution outlets to where black music was most popular. And he didn't pay the musicians and the artists hardly nothing, but they was creating all this music, you know. And then he started studying our music. He started copying our styles. And each famous musician back in those days had their own style, you know. And as it got more and more sophisticated, brothers started more and more sciencing up on this music. The white man started understanding that this music was similar to classical music like Beethoven and Bach and all them. And he noticed the similarity in that. So he said, well, this is our classical music. Jazz is our classical music, because Europe had their own symphonic type music. And so jazz pieces started lasting 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 20 minutes, especially when it came to Train and Miles and Duke and all the rest of them, Count Basie. Count Basie, his music was mostly rooted in blues, old style blues. It wasn't sophisticated as as Duke Ellington's, but nevertheless, then out of that came blues, came rock and roll, you know, boogie woogie, and ragtime music. Y'all may not know this, but that's really reggae. A brother started that. I don't forgot the brother's name, but I think it was Joplin, something like that, Copeland or something. Anyway, he started. Ragtime means just cutting the music, cutting the timing, you know. And anyway, you know, I ain't got much time to get up to what's happening now. So he started commercializing the music so much, and then he started stealing the music. And just like you got Eminem, you know, when his people imitate us, like the Beatles, Elvis Presley, they make more money than the brothers, you know. But the brothers have crossed over, and they got two different charts. They got this is why it's discrimination in music, or white supremacy in music, because you got the R&B charts, and then you got the pop charts. The pop charts ain't nothing but, you know, how many white people buying your music. Yeah. So we crossing over in everything now. We crossing over in movies. I mean, we first start off with black movies, and then we advance to standard movie, or cross over to white movies. You know, when the black actors start getting over to white people, you know, it can't be all black no more. You got to throw that white boy in there and that white girl in there somewhere. So this is crossover. And then we started messing with the women. Once we made some money, you know, the white girls, they was fascinated over what type of creativity and talent we got. You know, because our music is soul music, and it moves to your very soul, you see. Anyway, we're going to come back with part 2, because we ain't through. Black Light out.